92% are identifying affordable housing as housing getting totally out of control for the average paycheck. So you've got really a reflection.
Those are shockingly high.
Frankly, what you're doing is you're seeing a Canadian public that is responding to the financial hurricane that's exploding, not on the stock market, but in our lives. These are the big pressures: stagnant wages, rising housing costs, and insecure jobs. And they're saying to their governments, it's not just about the banks and the financial system, it's about the real economy. Step up to the plate, make us proud.
And so I drive and listen, sometimes in disbelief what I hear, sometimes in such anger that my knuckles get white squeezing the steering wheel. It is a hard life we live today, and not always of our own design. So why don't we just all give up, throw our hands in the air and say, I had enough? What if I just stepped on the gas, closed my eyes, and all the problems would be finished in a second or two? Well, I was not serious. Life is too precious and beautiful to give up. I just need to look around and listen, and you have all your answers how to get out of this misery.
Financial hurricane, the world is headed for hell in a handbasket, and every other cliche. We're back to the dirty 30s. Man. Anyway, so I was just thinking, what can I do to fight this negativity? So I did what I usually do. I did some reading, I did some writing, and I ask you for a few minutes of your time. Yes, the loonie has been going south. Unfortunately, confidence in our dollar and our country has been going in the same direction. And I don't know whether I can make you feel more confident right now, but I hope you'll allow me to try. I'm not asking you for your money, but I am asking you for what's most precious, and that is your time. The reason our dollar is wounded is not that complicated. World markets are suffering indigestion, as you know. Many mutual fund managers and others have decided the best Pepto-Bismol of all is the U.S. Treasury bill. It yields almost no interest. Some people call it mattress money. However, it's as solid as the Rock of Gibraltar. You put it in there, it's not going to go down. And it is where much of the nervous capital is being parked right now. The purchase of these U.S. Treasury bills drives up the value of the U.S. greenback, the U.S. dollar. And so it drives virtually all the other currencies down. The English pound is getting pounded, and the Chinese yuan is getting stomped on. And here in Canada, Canada, our loonie flying at a low altitude.
I'd like to do so much, but what can I do? I'm just a driver with little knowledge. So I'm hoping that these few images I can film with my camera remind all what is at stake. Have you thought of your forefathers, pioneers, explorers, and thousands of homeless, hungry immigrants who paved the way to what we have today? The sacrifices they made for us and for this country, we can never forget. It is this beautiful country we cherish so much. It is our freedom. I know we cannot eat these images or pay our bills with their beauty, but we can step back and think.
It's up to a failure of spirit if you permit it to. If you allow them to beat you with their numbers, you're surrendering to the worst kind of defeat there is. A defeat with no sense of purpose, no positive outcome, and worst of all, no honor. Time marches forward. That's why it's called progress. And the history of human achievement is based on progress. The forces of darkness have always been committed to the opposite. They want you to stop believing in the future and ultimately to stop believing in yourself. Although I've mentioned the incredible resources that this country is awash in, this blessed country, the most important, ultimately the best resource we have is our own people, many of whom have been through tough times in this country and elsewhere. Look, I grew up with many of these folks. survivors who in the end could not be extinguished by communism and fascism, the twin towers of darkness that crushed so many members of their families. I grew up with people who weren't just frightened by stock numbers, unemployment numbers. They were terrified, terrorized, traumatized by having people they knew shot, imprisoned, tortured, executed. The mauling of the markets pales in comparison with the massacre of millions of people who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time in history. We're living history right now, and we will be talking about these times for a long time. But we have a choice. We can make hope and progress our friends, or we can do as we're being urged to do by so many right now, to just throw up our hands and declare to our friends and families that the sun has set on our hopes and dreams, and the sun will never rise again. I'm asking you, just as one ordinary Canadian, with extraordinary access to you and your mind, please don't let them win. Don't give them a victory. Don't cave to the cave dwellers, to the forces of darkness. Don't give them everything they want. They want your confidence, your hopes, your dreams. You tell them your dreams don't belong to them. There's a name for a person who only believes in defeat. Don't make it yours. This is a great country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so rare that I come to this microphone and haven't got a clue as to how to introduce a piece because I was so overwhelmed by the piece that I saw. Now, that is glorious video. You would have to hate Canada not to love this video. Done by an amateur. No, it sounded professional. It's done by an amateur filmmaker who, in fact, is a delivery truck driver, okay? I think of him as Miro the trucker. His name is Miroslav Kantarski. And the email that he sent me yesterday was in response to the essay that so many of you heard me do here on the air, Canada, Sweet Land of Prosperity. And that was designed to talk back to all of the negative natterers nattering about how the world is going to hell in a handbasket because of the breakdown of the financial markets and all of the other markets. No, I refuse to buy it. I refuse to believe that it will be a tsunami and that we're all going to die. And I do realize that, as I say often on this air, that's the low-hanging fruit. It's the easiest one to pick. Easiest way to get your attention is to scare the hell out of you. And I'm not saying that everyone in media is malicious, and I'm not saying every guest that is interviewed is malicious. But collectively speaking, when that is the only drift you get, it's no wonder that you get headlines today like, consumer confidence at an all-time low. What is the point of that headline? Obviously, consumer confidence is going to be at an all-time low when people are hearing nothing but, watching nothing but, and reading nothing but doom and gloom. So along comes Miro, which rhymes with hero, and he's my kind of guy. He writes, Dear Mr. Adler, my name is Miroslav Miro Kantarski, residing in Toronto, regular listener of your show. Your inspiring talk on Canada was just beautiful. It was true and was so necessary for many Canadians. I am one of those who benefited greatly by the opportunities the country provides. I'm an avid video amateur. I produced a short video on the subject. It's called Freedom. It is 40 years since my escape from Czechoslovakia in 1968. Perhaps if you could find 12 minutes of your time, I believe that even this video will inspire you to keep inspiring Canadians, as this is the greatest country on the planet. I thank you for your effort and keep up the great job. And we now have the pleasure of bringing to you the voice of the voice, Miroslav Kantarski, Miro the trucker. Miro, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, Miro, for those people who missed yesterday and the reading of Canada, sweet land of liberty, sweet land of prosperity and hard work and freedom and all of that, why don't you give me your take on what you heard, why you had the impetus to send the email?
Well, in my opinion, it's very easy to get depressed from a situation which is around us. Not necessarily caused by us. People have to believe in themselves. The people have to believe in a future. that there's other things in the world than politics. They have to appreciate the freedom they have, and it's not a freedom, it's not just a word. The one has to really do something, to be free. It's a really precious commodity, and once you lose it, and it's so easy to lose it, it's very hard to take it back.
Only those who live through the experience fully understand the stress and uncertainty one feels when he is suddenly forced to make the life-altering decision to leave suddenly his home, family, and friends, with the knowledge that this separation may be forever. My door to freedom opened for a moment, and I flew like a bird, finding his way out of the cage. I flew west to Canada, glorious country I heard, where people live happy and free, hoping to fulfill my dreams and ambitions. This is my story, one of many thousands taking place every day. Wars, political oppression, economical hardship forces people abandon their homelands in search of safe havens. And so here I am in this huge, beautiful country. I did not know what to expect, what's awaiting me in the future. One thing I was sure of, I was not going to waste this opportunity of a lifetime and the help people of my new homeland offer to me in a time of need. I am a delivery driver now, almost ready to retire, so I thought that I'd take a little inventory of my life, my achievements and failures, and mainly to say thanks to Canada for allowing me to become a Canadian. I am not a rich person by any means. Actually, you can call me poor. I have spent those Cuban pesos on the way to Canada and used $5 Canadians I had to start my life here. Oh, I made few dollars here and there, but those I exchanged for something else. The riches I have found are not in the bank, but they are etched deeply in my mind in the form of fulfilled dreams, and no recession or a crash of a market can diminish their value. So how does one thanks to a country that offered me a safe haven? I have nothing tangible to give. Perhaps this story will be my small redemption. Story of my personal success will promote Canada's reputation, Canada's good heart. The opportunity which exists for all who want to succeed, all who make an effort to be a true Canadian. There is a part of my heart that belongs to my old country, but I hold only one passport, to show my appreciation, my love for all that is Canadian. Not all perfect, but it is us who make it better. So what was it that this country of Canada did for me? What have I accomplished in the past 40 years that I could not have done in the old country? It was my family unwillingness to conform to the rule of the communist system that caused me and my family so many problems and restrictions. There are people who are satisfied with a simple life, but many others, including myself, need more to feel whole, more than work, eat and sleep. I was always a dreamer, thirsty for knowledge and adventure, always curious what is beyond that mountain range where I watch the sunset every evening. Now I have discovered what is beyond that mountain range. Huge plains, oceans, and many more mountain ranges, and a free world, the music for my heart. I have not wasted any time. There was so much to see and discover, and so little time. Finally, I understood what freedom was. I had only a basic education, but should that be a barrier to fulfill one's dream? I worked hard to achieve what Canada was offering to me, an opportunity. We all see success differently. For me, it was an adventure, travel, discovery, all that was forbidden fruit in the old country, and I was determined to succeed. Suddenly a curtain opened before my eyes, and I stepped into the free world, a world I knew only from the adventure books and film. With the first opportunity, I started to travel. I traveled far to distant corners of my new homeland. How else can one appreciate a country without knowing it? I almost could not believe that this huge country stretching from sea to sea is here for me to discover, and there is no one telling me you cannot go. How sweet the taste of freedom is. I traveled on foot, climbed the mountains, traveled by car, even by dog sled in the northern latitudes. I sailed the Great Lakes and oceans to faraway islands, and all that I have done with a grade 8 and trade school education. How was it all possible? Even now I can't believe that it all happened. But I know the answers now. My dreams were clear, my desires were strong, and I was free to follow my dreams. Thank you, Canada. Celebrate with me, for it is 40 years in December this year, when my feet touch your snowy land in Gander, Newfoundland, for the very first time. I have flown home in my mind many times. I have flown on the wings of dreams. I flew so close I could recognize familiar places. I wanted to stay and visit, but I could not land. You know why? Because it was only a dream. But one day, after more than 20 years, my feet touched down the place where I was born, the nest of my family. I was greeted by the sights that warmed up my heart and moistened my eyes. I became very sad. An old man came to greet me, an old man that gave me my life, the man that sent me off to find my freedom. But he was a different man, I remember leaving. What has changed him that much? Was it only the time, or was it the hardship, the price he had to pay? I felt terrible seeing his old, tired, overworked body, still doing what he was doing all his life, tiring, heavy work. I did not know what to say. Should I have said, "Please forgive me my selfishness for leaving you here alone"? What could I have said for the gift he has given me, my freedom? When the old man looked at me and hugged me, I saw in his eyes that he was proud and satisfied. The price he had to pay bought him what he was waiting for, his son, happy and free. My dad, I knew he had forgiven me.
When I watched your video this morning, I guess it was about between 5 and 5:30. By the time I saw it, I couldn't watch my computer screen. I don't want to embarrass you. It's very rare that should happen. You know, one thinks that after all these years, one's eyes are cataracted by cynicism, and that sometimes can come over time by being exposed to a lot of things. But this one pierced through the cynicism. This was so authentic. This was so real. When I saw that eagle flying, a free bird, connected to your escape from tyranny, your escape from communism, your pursuit of freedom and what freedom means to you. And then as you go to all of these different places in Canada, I mean, when I see you in the mountains, climbing mountains, when I see you in the far north on a dog sled, I sit there and I say to myself, hey, wait a minute, this isn't Forrest Gump. This isn't a movie. This isn't fiction. This is real. This guy really did all these things.
See, at first I thought that one has to be rich to be able to travel, but it is not so. If you really love something, and I come from a country which is a mountainous country. Unfortunately, I ended up in Ontario, the flattest place I can imagine. It was the first place I was looking for to kind of look back what place I left and what place I got to. So I went to Rocky Mountains, and this really inspired me so much. And then my sailing trips to Caribbean and across the ocean, it was something that was a dream which I had when I was 9 years old. And I said, maybe one day I will be able to do it. But unfortunately in Slovakia those days, it was easier perhaps to get to the moon than to fulfill my dream that I had. But thank God to Canada, I am here and I really managed to do all things that I really dreamed about.
I grew up with a song that we used to sing to ourselves. Sometimes we thought about the lyric and sometimes we didn't. It was Me and Bobby McGee, written by the great Chris Christopherson. It was made a huge hit by Janis Joplin, but a whole bunch of other people have done it. I love it best by Roger Miller, as a matter of fact. And one of the lines there is, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Now, that's not what freedom means to you. Freedom is everything to you, and it's everything to your late father. You had a long separation from your father, from your parents, because of your pursuit of freedom. And I want you to talk to us about that in just a few moments. I want to take Miro the trucker back to 1968, 40 years ago, when he escaped from Czechoslovakia in pursuit of freedom. and freedom and Canada to Miro are synonymous. If you want to see this video, if you can handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson would say in A Few Good Men, can you handle the truth? Can you handle how beautiful this country is, despite what everybody else is saying about it? Can you handle the truth that the future is brighter than it's ever been? What you want to do is log on to charlesandler.com, click on Antler on the Edge, and right at the tail end of Canada's sweet land of hope, hard work, and prosperity by yours truly, you will see a link to the film Freedom by Miroslav Kantarsky.
Our world has changed. We watch the violence, wars, far from our shores and wonder, can it happen here? Can we lose our freedom? Beware, you may not see tanks or guns threatening you at your doorsteps, but the freedom can be lost many different ways. So listen to these words of wisdom. Listen to them often until they sink deep into the recesses of your mind.
This is a journey of spirited wings. casting upon myself a spell of guilt, one that is woven with the strings of liberty, as I open my arms toward the ocean of uncertainty. I am soaring through glory, painted of bluish memories, as I dissolve into the dust that one day will reveal the birthday of my heart, the place that taught me to fly into the crushing waves of my dreams. My prize has shined, my prayer has lived, my voice has dived into the rising love as I absolve myself of the chains of regret as I become one with sun. Brilliantly sunny is a passion that flows under and above my soul, a past of fortitude, a present of love, a future of joy, always pining in my heart, the source of it all. My eternal homes, Canada and Slovakia.